Don't believe this nice guy myth. Did you know that being the nice guy might be the very thing holding you back? If you've been told that being kind, agreeable, and always putting others first is the key to success, it's time to rethink everything. While being a good person is valuable, constantly bending over backward for others can actually work against you. It's a common misconception that being overly nice will bring you the things you want in life: respect, love, and success. But the truth is, the nice guy mentality often leads to frustration, passive-aggressive behavior, and unmet desires. In this video, we're going to break down the harsh reality of how this mindset affects your life. We'll explore the hidden traps of niceness, compare the difference between being nice and being authentic, and walk through powerful steps you can take to build true confidence and self-worth. This isn't about becoming less kind. It's about shedding the passive people-pleasing behaviors that hold you back and stepping into your authentic, powerful self. Let's get started. Number 1. Breaking free from the nice guy mentality. Understanding the root causes. You know, life has a funny way of putting us in categories we don't even realize we're in. Think about it. When we're kids, we're often taught that being nice is the ultimate virtue, the key to making friends. And maybe, just maybe, it'll bring us everything we desire. Remember those early days in school? You were likely told to be polite, share your toys, and say please and thank you. Those little gestures were like golden tickets to approval. And let's be honest, it feels good to be liked, to be seen as the good kid, right? As we grow older, though, those lessons become a little more complex. Life isn't as black and white as we once thought. But what happens when those childhood lessons stick a bit too well? What happens when being nice becomes a part of our core identity, even at the cost of our own needs, desires, and self-respect? It's not that kindness is bad, it's a beautiful thing, but when it turns into a crutch, it can lead us into dangerous territory. Many men find themselves trapped in what's called the nice guy mentality. For those of you watching, maybe you've been told, "You're such a good guy," or "Why can't there be more men like you?" It feels great to hear, but somewhere along the way, you might have noticed something. Being nice doesn't always bring you what you're hoping for. The job promotion you were waiting for. It went to the guy who wasn't afraid to speak his mind. That relationship you thought would blossom, you're stuck in the friend zone. The truth is, the world doesn't always reward niceness, at least not in the way we expect. The roots of this mentality often come from a mix of societal pressures, family dynamics, and personal experiences. Maybe you grew up in a home where you were told to always please others. Or maybe you didn't have a strong male role model, leaving you to navigate how to act in relationships on your own. Some men, especially those raised in environments dominated by female authority figures, whether mothers, teachers, or female-dominated schools, find themselves molded into the nice guy role. They learn to keep the peace, avoid conflict, and prioritize making others comfortable above all else. But here's where it gets tricky. While being nice can feel safe, it can also become a way to hide. Hiding from what, though? From conflict, from vulnerability, from the fear of rejection. It's easy to fall into the belief that if we're just nice enough, the world will take care of us. But that's not reality. The world doesn't always operate on fairness or reciprocity. In fact, often, the nicer you are at your own expense, the more people are likely to take advantage of you. This isn't to say that being a good person is wrong, far from it. But being a nice guy in this context often means operating out of fear. Fear of rocking the boat, fear of not being liked, fear of facing difficult situations head-on. Breaking free from this mentality starts with understanding that being nice doesn't have to mean sacrificing yourself. Take a moment and think back to when you were younger. Did you ever let someone push you around because you didn't want to seem confrontational? Maybe you did it once, maybe you did it 100 times, but the more you did, the more it became a habit, something ingrained in how you interact with the world. Nostalgic, right? Reflecting on those moments when we gave up a piece of ourselves to maintain peace. But now, let's shift that perspective. What if those moments were actually opportunities to be more assertive, to learn to say no, to stand up for ourselves, but we didn't take them? It's not too late to start rewriting that narrative. Does this spark a bit of curiosity in you? What if breaking free from the nice guy mentality was the key to unlocking a more fulfilling life? What if it's not about being less kind, but about being more genuine, more assertive, more you? Number 2, the dark side of niceness, hidden agendas and passive-aggressive behavior. Here's where things start to get a little uncomfortable. We often think of nice as synonymous with good, but that's not always the case. In fact, there's a hidden dark side to this so-called niceness that many of us overlook. The truth is, the typical nice guy isn't always acting out of pure kindness. Instead, there's often an underlying agenda, a desire to be liked, accepted, or validated. Think about the last time you went out of your way to do something for someone, even when it inconvenienced you. Did you expect a thank you, a favor in return? Maybe you didn't realize it at the time, but was there a part of you that hoped your actions would lead to some form of recognition? This is where the niceness starts to blur with manipulation. It's subtle, but it's there. The nice guy often has unspoken expectations. He believes that if he's nice enough, people will like him, love him, or give him what he wants. But here's the kicker: when those expectations aren't met, resentment starts to build. Have you ever felt that sting of frustration when someone didn't reciprocate your kindness? That's the dark side creeping in. The truth is, the nice guy isn't always being nice because he's a genuinely selfless person. He's being nice because he wants something in return, whether that's approval, love, or simply avoiding conflict. It's not about giving from a place of abundance. It's about giving from a place of fear. Passive-aggressive behavior is a common trait of the nice guy. Because he avoids conflict at all costs, he doesn't know how to express his needs directly. Instead, his frustrations come out in subtle, indirect ways. Maybe he makes sarcastic comments, gives the silent treatment, or does things begrudgingly, without saying how he really feels. Sound familiar? It's something many of us can relate to, especially when we feel we've been overlooked or undervalued. This brings us back to that nostalgic feeling of doing something nice and expecting a pat on the back. Remember when you helped out a friend and they didn't seem as appreciative as you thought they should be? It stings. But here's the thing. True kindness doesn't expect a reward. It's given freely, without strings attached. When we start to realize that, it opens up a whole new way of looking at our relationships and interactions. Now, you might be wondering, if being nice can lead to these passive-aggressive tendencies, how can I avoid it? That's where authenticity comes into play. Imagine what life could be like if you didn't have to hide behind niceness, if you could be honest about your needs, your boundaries, your desires. What if you could embrace conflict when necessary, rather than shy away from it? Number 3, alpha versus nice guy. Why confidence and authenticity matter. The term alpha male often brings up images of aggression, dominance, and bravado. But that's not the full picture. In fact, a true alpha isn't about being loud or bossy. It's about being confident, authentic, and unafraid of confrontation. The alpha male stands in stark contrast to the nice guy, and understanding the difference between the two can help you shift your mindset. While the nice guy seeks approval and validation, the alpha male operates from a place of self-assurance. He's kind, but not because he wants something in return. He's assertive, but not aggressive. He knows his worth and doesn't need others to confirm it for him. The alpha male is unafraid to be direct. If he wants something, he asks for it. If he doesn't like something, he says so. He doesn't shy away from conflict or difficult conversations, but he doesn't go looking for trouble either. It's a delicate balance, one that comes from a deep sense of confidence and inner peace. Now think back to times in your life when you wished you could have been more assertive. Maybe it was during a work meeting, or maybe it was in a relationship. What would have happened if you had spoken up, if you had been honest about what you wanted or needed? That feeling of regret can be powerful, but it's also a learning opportunity. The alpha male doesn't dwell on missed opportunities. He learns from them and moves forward. And here's the exciting part, so can you. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Just like any muscle, it takes time, practice, and sometimes a little discomfort. But the rewards? They're worth it. Curious about what life could look like if you stopped chasing approval and started embracing your own authenticity? Imagine the freedom that comes with being unapologetically yourself, without worrying about how others will react. That's the path to true confidence. That's the difference between the alpha and the nice guy. Number 4, steps to self-improvement, from setting boundaries to building self-esteem. All right, now that we've explored the root causes, the hidden pitfalls, and the crucial difference between the alpha and the nice guy, it's time to get to the good stuff. Practical steps for self-improvement. Let's face it, change isn't easy. But here's the thing, it's entirely within your reach. What if I told you that you already have the power to reshape how you interact with the world, how you present yourself, and how you feel inside? Wouldn't that be exciting? It's true, and it all starts with setting boundaries and building self-esteem. We've all been in situations where we've said yes when we really wanted to say no. Maybe it was at work when a colleague asked for help at the last minute, or maybe it was in a relationship when you went along with something you didn't agree with just to keep the peace. It's a common experience, especially for people stuck in the nice guy mentality. But here's the kicker. When you constantly prioritize others' needs over your own, you start to lose touch with what you really want. Setting boundaries isn't about being selfish. It's about being honest with yourself and others. It's about knowing your limits and standing firm in your values. The first step is recognizing where you've been overextending yourself and where you've been letting others take advantage of your kindness. Start small. It could be as simple as saying no to a request that you don't have time for, or expressing your opinion in a group setting. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but that's where growth happens. Every time you set a boundary, you're reinforcing your self-worth. Remember those times when you went out of your way for someone else, only to feel resentment when they didn't appreciate it? It stings, doesn't it? But what if, instead of feeling frustrated, you had simply said no from the start? It's a nostalgic thought. Those moments where we gave too much, hoping for recognition or validation, only to be disappointed. But here's the beauty of boundaries. They allow you to give from a place of abundance rather than obligation. When you're clear about your limits, you can be more present, more generous, and more authentic in your relationships. Building self-esteem goes hand in hand with setting boundaries. They reinforce each other. When you respect yourself enough to say no, you start to see your own value in a new light. But self-esteem isn't just about saying no. It's about how you carry yourself in every aspect of life. It's about taking care of your physical health, your mental well-being, and your personal presentation. Let's talk about physical health for a moment. There's something incredibly empowering about building a strong, healthy body. It's not just about aesthetics. It's about what a strong body represents. A commitment to yourself. Hitting the gym, going for a run, lifting weights. These activities aren't just physical. They're mental exercises in discipline, perseverance, and self-respect. Every time you push yourself to lift a little more or run a little farther, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. Think back to a time when you felt physically strong and capable. Maybe it was after a workout. Maybe it was during a time when you were taking care of yourself and feeling good in your skin. That sense of strength is addictive, isn't it? It's a reminder that you have the power to shape your own reality. And here's the exciting part. The more you invest in your physical health, the more your confidence will grow. It's a positive feedback loop, but it's not just about physical strength. How you present yourself to the world matters too. You don't have to wear expensive clothes or follow the latest trends to make an impact. It's about dressing in a way that makes you feel confident and comfortable in your own skin. A well-groomed appearance can go a long way in boosting your self-esteem. It's about showing the world that you take yourself seriously, that you value who you are and how you present yourself. Let's take a nostalgic detour for a second. Remember those times when you put on an outfit that made you feel invincible? Maybe it was a suit for a job interview or a new shirt on a first date. There's something about looking good that makes you feel good, and it's not superficial. It's a reflection of how you view yourself. When you invest in your appearance, you're sending a message to yourself and the world. I'm worth it. Building self-esteem also means investing in your mental well-being. It means taking time to reflect, to understand your strengths and areas for growth, and to cultivate a mindset of resilience. Self-esteem isn't built overnight. It's a process of continuous self-improvement. But the more you invest in yourself, the more you'll see the benefits in every area of your life. Now, you might be curious about how this all ties together. What does setting boundaries, building physical strength, and investing in your mental well-being have to do with breaking free from the nice guy mentality? The answer is simple: everything. When you start to respect yourself, when you prioritize your own needs, take care of your body, and build your self-esteem, you naturally stop seeking validation from others. You stop needing to be the nice guy to gain approval because you're already confident in who you are. Imagine this: a life where you're no longer afraid of conflict, where you're comfortable saying no, and where you don't need to be liked by everyone to feel good about yourself. Doesn't that sound freeing? It's not about becoming less nice. It's about becoming more authentic. It's about being kind when you choose to be, not because you feel obligated to. It's about building a life that reflects your values, your desires, and your true self. Curiosity peaked yet? Here's the thing. Self-improvement isn't a destination, it's a journey. And the best part? You're already on the path. Every step you take towards setting boundaries, building self-esteem, and embracing your authenticity brings you closer to the life you deserve. As we wrap up, remember that breaking free from the nice guy mentality isn't about becoming less kind or caring. It's about being authentic and confident in who you are. You've learned how setting boundaries, building self-esteem, and embracing your true self can lead to a more fulfilling life. It's time to stop seeking validation from others and start valuing yourself first. By doing so, you not only gain respect, but also experience the freedom and empowerment that comes with living authentically. Drop a in the comments if you've made it this far. It means you're part of the rare 0.01% who actually finish what they start. If you're serious about making a real change in your life, be sure to subscribe to the channel and join a community of like-minded individuals striving for self-improvement every day. Together, we can continue to grow and succeed.